Welcome back. I'm with Andy Mothibi, the head of the Special Investigating Unit, and he is here to tell us a bit more about the new energy that he says they are infused with on the prosecution front as well as the litigation front, and we'll be looking at some specific cases. Now, Andy, tell me a little bit more about the cases that are enjoying priority, at least at the Special Tribunal.
Thank you for that, Ratim. There are various sectors that we have investigated in, and there's various sectors that we have done assessment on, and those would include health sector. You would be aware that the President on the 1st of October launched the Health Sector Anti-Corruption Forum. That shows that we have prioritized that sector to make sure that we deal with it in an innovative way, just again to say in a business unusual way, so that we deal with matters as speedily as possible. So we've got matters in the health sector that we will be tabling at the Special Tribunal. We've got other matters that we've been investigating on. You would be aware that since the intervention that government initiated in the Northwest, there is a whole lot of expectation from the public in terms of what are the matters that the public has reported as part of that intervention. We've had whistleblowers coming to us presenting matters. So we have finalized some of those cases, particularly in the scholar transport area. That is the area that has also, amongst other areas, there's been abuse and irregularities. Government has been fleeced of monies. There's been overpricing. There's been overinflation of kilometers. We are sitting now with cases to at least, for starters, to the tune of about more than 34 million that we are ready to table at the Special Tribunal. So those matters will see traction, and we will be ready to report to the public.
Well, let me just interrupt you there. When you talk about the health sector, which is a broad setup, and you know, we know specific cases. We don't know them in a sectoral manner, right? When you say in the Northwest, for instance, you're talking about what? Mediosa contracts?
You would know that the Mediosa contract is one of those contracts that have been investigated. Mediosa was investigated by the Hawks, not by the SIU, but we are in collaboration with the Hawks to make sure that we then make sure that the legal requirements of getting cases to the Special Tribunal is complied with. Those could be one of the matters that are tabled at the Special Tribunal. But in the you'd be aware that we are investigating in various instances. We have started investigations in the Council for Medical Aid Scheme. There are matters that are being investigated at the moment. If we come to a finding in those matters, those are some of the matters that could be taken to the Special Tribunal. And to your point, this does not only focus on the public sector. There are private sector parties that are involved, the companies that are involved doing business with government, and where the irregularities have been found, those companies will also be pursued.
Are there any particular cases that we have to talk about? This the Guptas, for instance, because many, the South Africans feel it looks, we're told a lot of money was taken through the schemes that were set up by the Gupta family and their associates, but not much is being said about the recovery of such monies. Are we going to see such cases being referred to this Special Tribunal?
Correct. The one example is the one that we have investigated in the Eskom investigation. We've already made findings that Tegeta, the Tegeta is a company that was providing services to Eskom. We found that there's irregularities in the contract to supply coal in that space, and that contract has been found by our investigation to be irregular. we are busy with processes to make sure that that case is set aside. With regard to the recoveries, this is how it works. When we make finding that the contract is irregular, we ask the court or the special tribunal to set it aside. And then the second leg is to make sure that there's recoveries. So when we recover, we look back to the company itself. So at the moment, there's public writings out there that there's business rescue involved. We will not end up where we are told that there's business rescue. We will go behind that and make sure that if there are assets that needs to be recovered, we will recover those assets. And we also look at the directors of the company. So if the directors happen to be those that you mentioned, the Guptas, then we will make sure that we go after them. And if there's indications that the monies have left the country and they've taken them to outside of the country, we will make sure that we reach to those monies. So this is just one example of those matters. Now,
the Estina Dairy matter has been in the public domain, has been in different areas, including the Zondo Commission. Would it be one of them? Is it part of the package that's going to be sent to the special tribunal?
At this stage, it's not one of those matters, but you know that the investigation is still ongoing in that. But as I indicated to you, if Hawks is looking into that matter, we would then engage with the Hawks so that at an appropriate time, we make sure that the legal requirements of getting a matter to the special tribunal are complied with so that it can get to the special tribunal. Remember, the special tribunal is set up in terms of the Special Investigating Unit and Special Tribunals Act, so it only deals with matters that have been investigated and coming out of the SIU investigation.
Well, okay, the controversial one is the SABC, for instance, that there was talk, including the board, the interim board, complaining about how you went about your investigations and trying to implicate them in wrongdoing when they were not involved in that. Not so long ago, they had a press conference to explain their position. But prior to that, you had made specific findings against certain individuals at the SABC that you felt, as the SIU, should return some monies back to the SABC. Can you tell me more about that?
Right. With regard to SABC investigations, the members of the interim board that you speak of, there's a report that we have issued, and we have said because they constituted what's called the accounting authority, which is the board, and any of the irregularities that have been found in the period with which they were the accounting authority, those irregularities get to point to the accounting authority. So we then get to say if the board has signed off or they've pronounced on that process that was irregular, that is the context within which that irregularity has been found, and that matter is now pending in court. So we sit and await the outcome of the court process. With regard to the other parties at SABC, there are those that we have issued papers already that are in court, in the ordinary courts in this case. So those are some of the cases which we will then approach the courts with an application to get them transferred to the special tribunal so that we can speed up the recoveries.
The case of Nkandla, for instance, is over now. I mean, it's been in the media for a long time, and there were disciplinary processes that were being followed, and there are different pieces to the story around there. Is the matter over now, or is it something that you are still pursuing?
In our investigations of the Nkandla matter, there has been findings that found that some of the public officials or government officials who are working for the Department of Public Works have made themselves guilty of misconduct. So that's the part that was taken care of by the department, and the disciplinary processes have been dealt with. Now, where we are at the moment is that as SIU, we are pursuing, together with the department, the recovery the civil litigation to recover.
Is there a case that there should be some recovery?
There is a case that we are busy with, and that case is in court. Is in court in the Pietermaritzburg High Court.
Yeah.
And that court case has been in court for a while. That in our list of cases, it shows that it's been on our books since 2014. That's a very long time, and that is why we are so worried that if we leave the situation as it is and leave matters, we do respect the processes in the high courts, but we have already sought engagement to make sure that even in the high court themselves, there's a process called case management, which the judges get involved in. You apply, and they assist the parties with case management. So in some of the matters, those cases have been case managed. Now, this Nkandla matter, it's in court, and the judge has also been approached to case manage this case. It has not started yet, so in court language, it's not partly heard yet. So this is one of the matters which we could approach the court and approach the other party and say, this matter, for it to be heard speedily, we would like to apply that it go to the special tribunal. And the court would obviously look, those matters that are in the ordinary high courts are regulated by the high court rules. And the high court rules would determine the context and the circumstances on which we transfer those matters out of the high courts.
What is the biggest litigation case that you think is likely to be taken before the special tribunal?
We've got as I said, for example, the Tegeta matter. I mean, that's valued at about 2.5 billion.
Yeah.
So those are some of the matters that we could apply that they go to special tribunal. But the matters that I referred to that are in the scholar transport in the northwest environment, those matters cumulatively are quantified at about 35 million, which is not comparable to the 2.5 billion.
Yes.
We've got other cases in the water affairs space.
Yeah.
The cases that have affected our people in Kiani are struggling at the moment because there has been a disservice by some of the service providers. We have found that some of the contracts there have been awarded irregularly, and we have taken one of the matters to court, and that matter is also in the region of more than 2 billion. So those are some of the cases that we could make application to court and make sure that they are transferred to the special tribunal.
All right, but you sound very optimistic that the special tribunal is going to make a difference, and in your words, you believe that you may recover 14 billion rands, right, from these matters. Am I correct?
The 14 billion, as I said, it's quantified on the matters that are on our books at the moment.
Yes.
We will follow a process of applying that those matters be transferred to the special tribunal. If they are transferred, then over a period of time, we should see that amount being recovered through that process.
Advocate Andy Mothibi, thank you very much for having been our guest on the program. We appreciate. And we will talk to the NPA about the other matters, because it's up to them to decide when they prosecute it and how they prosecute.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
And we appreciate. That's all we have for you. Thank you for joining the Modise Network. And we invite you to join us again next week. From us, enjoy the rest of your day.